be anchored to something. We need to be fastened to something. We have to be linked, locked into something. I was listening to someone speak, and they were saying how that Jesus said, he said, I am the vine, and ye are the branches. And the man was trying to make people understand that ye need to stay connected to me. Oh, brother and sister, he's saying you need me. And that's the thing that we have to understand. Yes, brother and sister, God can use us, and God wants to use us, but we need more. We need God more than God needs us. He said, but you have to abide in me. Be fastened to me. In other words, if you let something or somebody cut you off, being the branch, you're the one that dies. He said, I don't die. You're the one that's going to dry up. He said, I'm not going to dry up. You're the one that's going to cease from living. He said, not me. If you get cut off from me, it's the end of you. Not me. So you need to be fastened. Connected. Stay in me. Many people are not fastened or connected to a sure foundation. This is obvious because the Bible shows us that, like kids, they are tossed to and fro. Here in Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 14. By every wind of doctrine and the sleight and cunning craftiness of men. Even if they don't want to follow men because they don't know the word of God, they're not fastened, they're not stable, they're led astray by anybody. They're brought to an end. But God thought it was important that we have a foundation. God wanted us to have something that we could stand on. God wanted us to have something that we can be stable and not always moved and always tossed to and fro, not always fearful and up and down in our life. God wanted us to have a foundation. But this man felt, I don't need a foundation. I don't have to do things God's way. I don't have to do things the right way. All I need is to put this house where I want it. And that's what he did. Until the wind began to blow. Until the rain began to come and the flood and the waves. And they beat upon his house. And because it was not fastened to anything. I think I shared this with you not too long ago when I was looking at the flood in Texas and how that there was a group of people that was in their house. And they were standing, and their house was built, and they had these, I don't know if you've ever been by the lake or the sea, the ocean, but they build these houses on these poles, and they make sure that they're rooted down into the sand deep below and solid. And the water can run right underneath the house and never move that house because it's on a foundation and it's sure. And as they were showing this in the news, they saw these people in their house looking out at the window as another house was just flowing down the river with the water. And as that house was just flowing down the river, they were saying, you could hear them saying, oh my, oh God. And they're looking at this house, and what was being said is simple. This house was not on a firm foundation. It was not on anything solid. And so when the wind came and the flood came, even though the house had been built, it was not built on the right things. That when the water came, it took it away. Brother and sister, if the storms of life, if if the ups and downs of life, if all the things and the cares of the world can move you away from God, then you're not on a sure foundation. You need to change foundation. You can be shaken by something and it stop you from going to church. You can be shaken by something and it stops you from really worshiping and praying. Oh, I understand things are tough sometimes, and I understand you don't always understand how things are going to work out, and you become concerned. We all face that at times, trying to understand why I'm going through this, or why this is happening, or why that's happening. I've been living for God, and I've been trying to do right, and I don't understand. And brothers and sisters, sometimes we don't understand. Job didn't understand. After living for God and being righteous all those years, even God testifying that Job was a man of integrity, that Job would do right no matter what. He looked the devil, so to speak, dead in his eyes and said, Job is not going anywhere. But Job didn't always understand. And sometimes, brother and sister, you're not going to understand why your building is being beat upon, why the rain is coming, and why the floods are coming, and why all the things are going on in your life. But you can't let those things move you. You've got to be steadfast in God and say, I'm going to serve him no matter what. You have to be true to what is right. And so many people get shaken. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying when things hit you that you don't know, that you always going to know how to deal with it. Sometimes you're going to have to lay on your face and cry until God picks you up. And God causes you to realize it's going to be all right. Sometimes you're going to just have to shout through your tears. And there you're standing there in the midst of it all. You're in church and people don't understand why you're shouting. You're shouting because you say, I still believe. I still have faith. I don't understand all that's going on. And I'm hurting on the inside. On the outside, you see me shouting. But I'm trying to understand it on the inside. But God's been keeping me. I know he has. God's been holding me. I know he has. Because I would have lost it all. I thought I lost it all, but somehow I'm still standing because the wind did come and the wave did beat, but God was right there holding me together because I'm fastened to him. I'm standing on him. I'm trusting in him. He is my foundation. Let's talk about it just for a moment. First thing I want to talk to you about is the old foundation. The old foundation. God thought a foundation was important. And so he laid the first foundation. The first foundation for man, God established himself. To make sure that man would have something he could be rooted in and established on. Look at Psalms 102 in verse 5. Psalms 102 in verse 5, or verse 15, I'm sorry. Psalms 102 in verse 15. He said, so the heathen, that's not what I want there. I've got to go where? 20, let me see if it's 25. Psalms 102, let me see, go to 25, what it says. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Forgive me. Psalms 102 in verse 25. He said, of old has the foundation, has thou laid the foundation, guess what? Of the earth. And the heavens are the works of thy hand. He said, of old, God laid down, guess what? The foundation. He said God established a perimeter. God set things in order. God put things that man could stand upon and lean upon. He said in that old foundation, brother and sister, is still a good foundation. It's God's handiwork. It belongs to God. And God knows what he was doing when he established the foundation. He said of old, the foundation was laid there in verse 25. And look what he said. He said it was God's handiwork, and yet it was still good. But men and women are always looking for a new way. And brothers and sisters, it's not wrong to look for a new way when God established a new way. I told you that this morning. When God is trying to give you something that is better for you, then you look for that. But when God hasn't established a new way, then brother and sister, you've got to lean on the old way. You've got to stand upon the old things and go back to the old landmark. Walk in that old way because you've got to understand that that's still the good way. It may not make sense. It may not look good, but it's still the good way. Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16 said it this way. He said, brother and sister, God had established a way. He said, and thus said the Lord, stand ye in, guess what? The way. Stand ye in the way and see. He said, and ask for what? The old path. He said, and ask for the old path. Where is the good way? He said, it's still good. It may be an old path, but it's still good. Sometimes I don't know about you, but I go back to Louisiana sometimes, and I haven't lived there in 25 or whatever, 30-something years. But there are some back roads, some old paths that I still know, that sometimes when traffic is acting up, I can still, guess what, get around. It's old path. Now sometimes when I go back on those old paths, the roads are not paved like they used to be. And it's kind of like, y'all know what I'm talking about? You ever roll down the up and down roads with all the bumps in the hill? But I'll drive on there. I can't drive fast, but I can still get where I'm going. And it's the old path. And so the old path sometimes may be a little rough. And the old path sometimes may not be where you can get the best of sceneries. You're not going to see the finest of things perhaps in the old path sometime. But the old path still knows how to get you where you're going. And sometimes people are trying to say, well, the things that used to be shouldn't be anymore. But the devil is a liar. God is still a righteous God. God is still a holy God. God is still a loving God. And if we're going to walk with God, we got to walk with God the old way. Not going back to the ways of the law, but going back to the ways of God. He set a foundation that is still good. He said, I'm going to tell you how good it is. In Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16, he said, you can still walk in it. It may not be a good walk. And when I talk about good, I mean it may be bumpy. You may have to miss some of the puddles and holes and all these different things. It's a rough road sometime. He said, but you can still walk in it. He said you can walk in that foundation. He said not only can you walk in it, he said, but that foundation won't lead you, that path won't lead you astray. It will lead you where you're going. It's not the best way. It's not the best way as far as sight and feelings and emotions. But God didn't, brother and sister, promise you and me an easy road. He didn't say that everything was going to always be good. He said, but he was going to be good. He said, and it would work for your good. He said he would fix it somehow. And that's what you got to understand. It may not look good, but if God is on the road, God help me. Help me to walk that path. Help me to be what I'm supposed to be, that I can serve you, God. May not always look good and feel good, but if God's on the road, and what you got to stop and look at, brother and sister, is that with all the things that you got going on, it hasn't stopped you. A lot of times we look at our issues and our things and say, man, I got all these burdens and struggles, and I get it. There's a lot of things going on, but look at you. You're still worshiping. You still making your way to church? You say, my car broke down on me 3 times before I got here. You still made it here, all right? You say, you don't understand. We don't have a whole lot of money. I don't know what we're going to eat when we get back. Your God's got to provide that. Your God's got to make a way. He said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. He said, in all these things, I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know when he's going to do it. And I don't know where it's going to come from. But God's not a man that he should lie. Neither is he the son of man that he's got to repent. If God said he'll do it, I got news for you. That old foundation is still a good foundation. God is still true to his word. It's true to it. It's still a good foundation. He said you can walk in it. And he said not only can you walk in it, he said you can actually find rest. You know, some of those old paths, it's quiet. You may hear the cows say, moo. That's because you're in the backside of the woods. That's all right. That cow ain't hurting you. He's just trying to let you know I'm out here. Moo. You're not the only one out here by yourself. Okay? But it's still a good path. And sometimes it's a quiet path. It's a path that gets you to start thinking again. It's a path that causes you to start looking on the inside. It's a path that starts to cause you to pray and say, God, where am I with you? God, how is my life? Where do I stand in you? It's a path that makes you search yourself. See, sometimes people's life are so busy that they don't have time to stop. And sometimes God puts you on one of those paths where you ain't got nothing to do because your radio is out, it can't reach the signals. So you can't even, your phone don't have signals out there. So all you can do is just, what a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God. And you start singing to yourself, and all of a sudden you start thinking about the goodness of God and encouraging yourself because you're on a path now where you don't have all the distractions and all you have is time to talk with God. And you know, sometimes once you get off that path, you begin to think, you know what, that was a peaceful time. Oh, I didn't like the bumps and all of the holes in the road, but at least I can think about God. At least I can spend time with God. And I want to know sometime what God's trying to get men and women do. It's just to spend some time with him and let them know that I'm still God. I'm still that old way. I'm still that good way. And if you trust in me, I'll give you rest for your soul. Give you the peace you need. But we're busy. We get into the car and the first thing we do is we turn on the radio. We don't want to be quiet. We get in the house and we turn on the TV in every room. We get on the computer because we don't want to be quiet. I don't want to think about what's going on. And God says, I need you to be still. I'm trying to talk to you. And with all the noise around you, you can't hear my still, small voice. And the only way you're going to hear me is when you pull yourself away from all the noise and you get in that old path, that foundation, you know, I can hear God. He can speak to me now. Sometimes that's what they call a prayer closet, where you just steal away. Sometimes it's just you going for a walk by yourself. I'm just going to walk and I'm going to put some music in my ears and I'm going to let the Lord speak to me. I don't even need music. I just start walking and just let the Lord talk to me and just begin to talk to God and say, God, you know what's going on. You know where I'm at. And sometimes that's that quiet time. And you're not trying to be. My wife said to me one day that she was wanting to go walk, and I was going to go walk with her. She said, well, I want to walk by myself. I said, okay, bye. Okay, that's fine. You said you didn't feel rejected? No. I knew what she was doing. She wanted to be quiet. She wanted God to speak to her. She wanted to speak to God. She didn't want me and a little bit saying, hey, what about this? What about? Always breaking that distraction. Sometimes you just want to be still, quiet. Speak to me, God. You know my heartaches. You know my pain. You know what no one else knows. You see what no one else sees. You understand what no one else understands. I've never told anybody my problem, but you know. Speak to me. And it's in that time that God speaks. Because you're quiet, you're still enough. That's that old foundation. But many don't want that foundation of being still and having quiet time with God. They want the loud, the Broadway. They want the exciting way, the glamour, the lights, and all the bling. But Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19 said that's where the moth eats. And those are the things that rust away. That's where thieves break in. That's where there's no peace. But that's what they build their life upon. They build it on earthly things. You have to realize it doesn't matter how much money you make. You are going to leave it all behind. Every dollar there is, you're going to leave it. If you don't spend it while you are alive, you're going to leave it behind. And someone else is going to spend it, guess what? For you. And the places you wouldn't go, well, I'm saving my money. I want to go on vacation. Guess what? They're going to be in Peru. They're going to go everywhere, guess what? With your money. Because they didn't have to work for it. The old path is still a good path. But then, brother and sister, there is a sure foundation. Not just an old foundation, but a sure foundation. A foundation that has been tested. A foundation that has been proven. A foundation that is not moved by the winds and the waves and the storms of life. A foundation that is sure. That foundation is Jesus Christ. He's a sure foundation. They beat him all night long and still could not break him. They hung him on an old rugged cross and told him to come down and still could not move him. No matter what they did to him, he was sure that I am what I am and I know who I am. He couldn't be moved by the cares of this world. He couldn't be moved by the voices of others. Why, brother and sister? Because Jesus understood his purpose. He understood why he had come. He had come to build a foundation that standeth sure, that would leave men and women with a seal, knowing who he really is. And so, brother and sister, he couldn't come down. He couldn't break. They couldn't move him. Why? Because Isaiah said he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquity. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. Isaiah said he came for you and me to lay a foundation so that you would know I don't have to be moved either. I don't have to be broken either. I may be going through something, but this is not the end of my story. I may be going through something, but God's going to make a way somehow. I may be going through something, but God will open a door. I don't know how, but I know that he'll never leave me nor forsake me. I'm on a sure foundation. I've got a seal in God. He was sealed. He left him a seal. What was the seal? He said, the Lord knoweth them that are his. Those that are his won't allow themselves to be shipwrecked. Those that are his won't allow themselves to be led astray by the lies of the devil. Those that are his are not going to leave that sure foundation because they realize that it's a solid foundation, that Jesus Christ is what I'm building my life upon. And if you can break Jesus, then you can break me. But if you can't break Jesus, you can't break me. And I'm going to stand on that foundation. I'm going to live on that foundation. I'm going to build everything on that foundation because Jesus is steadfast. So I'm going to base my life. He said many are shipwrecked because they get off that foundation. And they think, well, I can do it on my own. He said, but just because they shipwreck doesn't mean that God's foundation, guess what? It's not sure. He said, but God knows them. That's not going anywhere. And that's why you see God allowing Job to be tested. God would have never, ever told Satan, have you considered my servant Job? If he knew that Job would have let down, if he knew that Job would have failed, if he knew that Job would have quit, God would have never done it. But he looked the devil right in the eye and he said, I know who's mine. I know that's mine. Oh, you can knock him down, but he's going to get back up. You can afflict him, but he's going to keep on going. There is nothing that's going to stop him because he's on a sure foundation. And I come to tell you, if God is allowing you to go through things, don't you be worried and don't you be overly concerned. God is your foundation. Stand on that foundation. Live on that foundation, and your God will see you through. He didn't let you go through it not to see you through. God brought you to it. And if he brought you to it, guess what? He's going to bring you through it. He'll bring you through it. Now, you may wonder, like the disciples, where are you, Lord? Y'all never had that moment before. Where are you? Elijah did. Elijah was steadfast in God. But he had a discouraging moment where he said, I don't know where God is. And I by myself am alone. You ever felt like you were the only one that was going through something? Oh, y'all not don't talk to me. You ever feel like you were the only one? Nobody's going through anything in their life. Everybody else come to church happy. Look what the Lord has done. Look what. And you coming in, I know my problem. Look, let me tell you something. Some folks just know how to hide it better. You wear it on your face. You wear it all over you. You wear it in your attitude. Hello, bye. And all these, you wear it everywhere. Others know how to say, hi, God bless you. Lord, help me. They know how to hide it a little bit better. And you've got to understand that when you come to the house of the Lord, you don't need to bring doom and gloom. You need to bring your faith and say, I don't know how this thing gonna work out, but I know I'm on a sure foundation, and I know my God won't forsake me. I know God's gonna see me through somehow. So I'm gonna worship him like I already got my blessing. I'm gonna worship him like he's already delivered me. I'm gonna worship him like he's already made a way for me. It's not like they ain't got no problems. They just know how to look. Yeah, he healed my body. He touched my mind. And you're sitting there, man, I wish I had their joy. Y'all not going to. I wish I had their joy. I wish I had their fire. They don't seem like anything gets them down. No, brother and sister, they understand. It ain't going to help me to put my head down. In the Marine Corps, they used to tell us, ain't no use in looking down. There ain't no discharge on the ground. You might as well lift up your head and begin to just worship God and honor God and magnify God, because you're not getting out of it until God brings you out. But when he brings you out, then you can say, I was shouting on what I knew was coming. Now I'm shouting on what he's already done. He delivered me. He brought me out. He made a way from me. He's my God. He's a sure foundation. And so you can testify to others. You can tell others, oh, God's sure. You may not be able to depend on anything else, but you can depend on God. And when they ask you, how can you know? How do you know? Because he's already been tried and proven. They couldn't break him, and they tried to break me. And that's why David said, I was young. And he said, and now I'm old. He said, I got to tell you something. He said, there's two things I've not seen. He said, I've not seen the righteous forsaken. He said, or his seed begging for bread. He said, I've been on the run, but God has been there. He said, I've been through some storms. He said, but God has been there. He said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. He said, God was still there. He said, he was a rod that comforted me. His word was there. He was always there. He was my foundation. He was sure. All men forsook him, and he stayed sure. Paul said, I'm alone, and I have nobody with me. Paraphrasing, he said, but the Lord stood by me. That's a sure foundation. He said, the Lord stood by me. The people I thought was going to stand by me, it ain't never. The people I thought didn't stand by me. They held on for a little bit, but when the wave got a little rough, they let go. But because I was holding on and I was fastened to a sure foundation, Jesus Christ, the righteous, he said, he stood by me. I always loved Paul's writing, because in his writing, Paul constantly talks about how God stood by him. He continues, he says, even when I'm in trial, he said, God stood by me. When I was at the sea and all hope was gone, he said, God stood by me. And Paul kept saying, as he said, when God stood by me, he said, and God would say to me, be not afraid, Paul. Be of good cheer, Paul. Paul, you must preach somewhere else. Always giving him that confidence. Paul, you're on the right foundation. And this is sure. Others may have shipwrecked Paul, but stay on that foundation and depart from iniquity. The seal, having this seal, the Lord knoweth them that are his. It makes me think, and it's not in comparison exactly, but it makes me think about Revelation and how that the 144,000 is sealed in their forehead. They have this seal that they belong, guess what? To God. And they have been called to preach. And they are going to preach, and they're going to do exactly what God wants them to do in the end time. And no one's going to hurt them because they have a seal And that's what God was saying seemingly to us. He said, you have a seal when you belong to me. And things may go on in your life, but you're not going nowhere because I'm your foundation. And if you couldn't break me, they can't break you. Because in order to get to you, they have to go through me. See, I'm the one protecting you. So when the wind comes, Jesus says, be still. When the wave comes, Jesus says, be still. And that's why you wonder sometimes, I don't know how I made it. I don't know how I made it. I tried. I thought I was gone. I don't know why I'm still standing. It's because someone was all around you and saying, peace be still. And every time it got a little too rough, God began to walk on the sea and carry you through it all and cause you to realize I'm still your foundation. And because I'm your foundation, Paul wrote, there is no other foundation. That's my last point. There is no other foundation that can be laid. There is nothing greater than God. I don't care what you build your life on. If it's not Jesus Christ, it's not the right foundation. It's not the best foundation. It's not a sure foundation. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 11, he said, for other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ. He's that foundation. Our life has to be built upon him. He's the only one throughout our Bible we see, as I said to you earlier, that spoke to the wind and it ceased. He's the only one in our Bible that walked on the raging sea. Outside of Peter, Peter did it, but Peter did it looking to him. But he walked on the raging sea and did not sink. He's the one, brother and sister, that no matter what storm or what the enemy did, nothing fazed him. You see, our Bible reading says, but the wind came and the flood came and the rain, and it beat upon that house. But because it was not on a sure foundation, it went away. He said, but there was another man. The Bible said he digged deep. He was not foolish. He took the time and said, I'm going to dig deep. Come on, Sister Jason. He digged deep. And he built his house. He laid it upon a rock. Who is that rock? The Bible tells us Jesus is that rock. That's the foundation our life has to be built upon. Because everything else is sinking sand. Tonight, what is your life built on? Don't be foolish and think I can build my life on some man or some woman. Don't be foolish and think I can build my life on money, on my degrees. Don't be foolish and think I can build my life on all the things on the earth. The only thing you can truly build your life upon is that man called Jesus. Tonight, as you bow your heads and you close your eyes in reference to God, he's a sure foundation. Build your life upon him. Trust him. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He's that foundation of old. He's that foundation that is sure. He's that foundation that no one else can lay. You can't lay anything greater than Jesus. And tonight, why don't you put all of your trust in him? As she begins to sing, these altars are open. Why don't you just put all your trust upon him? And let that be, let him become your sure brother and sister, God cares about you. Every part of your life. Stay on that sure foundation. You may not always understand what God is doing in your life, but I want you to know God will never leave you nor forsake you. You said, preacher, how can you be sure of that? In 1993, this young boy gave his life to God. And brother and sister, it's been 32 years come this September that God saved me. And I want you to understand, in 32 years, I was 21 years old. In 32 years, God has been faithful. God has been faithful. Have I always understood? No. Have I always liked the path? No. Did I cry sometime? Yes. Was I concerned sometime? Yes. You said, preacher, then how did you make it? I kept trusting. I kept believing. So did you fall? Did you mess up? Oh, yes, along the way. But I never gave up on him. Because if he can forgive anybody, he'll forgive you. He'll forgive me. You see, people look at you. There is no perfect man. Even after you've gotten saved, if you say, since I got saved, I've never ever sinned.